Hey YouTube, it's Giovanna here with Sassy Perspectives, and I know it's been a long time, right? So I feel like it's been a couple of months. Actually, I know it's been a couple of months because it's just been dealing with life. Been dealing with life, but like I encourage you all, I have to make sure that I stay on target and stay focused. So I'm just stopping by today to share and inspire as always. So, we are in the fourth month of the year. You know, I always talk to you guys about your goals, giving your goals and your vision legs, putting things in motion, writing down, um, identifying, creating, and putting all of those things to work. Working your vision, working your passion. So I hope that we are doing those things. I'm still active with my blog, Sassy Perspectives, over at WordPress. And I am back on track with you guys. So I missed you because, this video thing that we have here is just kind of a way for me um, to release and to share. And I'm finding that in my transparency, people are blessed. So that's a good thing. So today I want to talk about fear. I want to talk about fear and I want to talk about our thoughts. So let me give you a little scenario. A few days ago, my husband and I announced that we are pregnant. We've known for some time, but we wanted to wait until after our first trimester to ensure that everything is okay, and that's what husband wanted. So that's what we did. And it's crazy because being pregnant, it's kind of a trigger to memories and thoughts from the past, at least for me. I have a son, Isaiah, who will be 10 this year in November, and my JD Pie just turned 8 at the end of March. So, being pregnant for the third time, it just brings back so many memories of being pregnant with them. So, of course, as a pregnant mother, this pregnancy child, it just brings out emotions out of nowhere. You hear me? I could cry right now over the fact that the sun is out, because that's just how unstable my emotions are. It's pretty funny to see, but it is what it is, right? It's just something you go through. All off in balance. It's fine. It's cool. It's something we accept and we embrace. But I had a moment with my husband the other day. We were in bed, and I said, "So I know this sounds very cliche, but when I'm feeling a bit uneasy or uncomfortable because of the pregnancy, literally his touch soothes me." So he's like, "Okay, you're so deep, you're so whatever." But it is. So I remember saying it to him, but then I remember, like, without telling him, thinking about it, like, why is that? Why does his touch help me to be at ease? So I had, like, a deep moment. Usually being a psychology major, I always want to know the reason why, what motivates something to be something else. So I started thinking, and I'm like praying, like, what is that? Is that because we have a connection or a bond as husband and wife? And now that we're pregnant, is it that level, or is it something else? So I always have this thing where I'm used to processing things mentally, just for me. Sometimes I don't process things vocally, and I'm finding, Brian and I have been married for a year and a half, so I feel like I'm beginning to bounce a lot of things off of him, like open-ended thoughts, because in talking with him, talking with my mate, I feel like I can process and resolve a little more. And it's so weird, the blessings that come with marriage, because he's my soulmate, he's my helpmate. So I feel like even in my vulnerable times, he even when I am open, I'm still at peace because I'm talking to him. I hope that makes sense. So we had a moment. And instead of internalizing it, I shared with him the reason why his touch soothes me. Not so much, well, I will say heal me to a certain extent. We have this thing, like if I'm whining, like, I'm like, babe, I want to feel you. Now, of course, sometimes as a man that can go all the way left, but I just need to, his presence and his touch is a reassurance for me. So I was explaining that to him, and I think it was kind of a revelation from my past, and it exposed a fear that I didn't even know that it was there. You know how sometimes you think you're done with a thing until a trigger happens and you're like, oh, I didn't know I felt that way, or I didn't know I was still dealing with this, or I didn't even know it was still a thing. So I told him I'm bouncing, my thoughts off of him mentally, and I'm saying, your touch heals me because it's just a reassurance that you are there, that you're supporting me, and that I don't have to do this thing alone. I was a single mother prior to Wallace, so it's so crazy how how you're in a thing, you're in a thing, and you don't even realize the back and forth that you take on being a single mother. Sometimes we don't realize a thing until, sorry guys, sometimes we don't realize a thing until like we're out of it. So I realized a lot of things that I endured being a single mother, because we women, listen, we get it done. We do what we have to do, and that's just pretty much it. Not even realizing that a lot of things that I did were by myself. Brian would ask me things, and I always say to him, you had an amazing upbringing, because Brian always saw his mom and dad together. Brian always saw his dad providing. So it's amazing how it shapes your perspective, it shapes your morals, and it shapes your norm. So I'm blessed because of his upbringing. I'm blessed because he knows no other way to be but a gentleman, a provider, a father, a husband. You know what I mean? Because he learned it indirectly from his father. So that's why I say all the time, like, as parents, this job that we have is so important, because we are shaping our children's future indirectly. They're always watching. We give them their first perspective of life and what is to be and what shouldn't. So it's so key to be present, be positive, and be a positive influence. And I thank God, because I and my children benefit from that based on Brian's upbringing. So it's a good thing, right? So I was telling him, your touch just affirms that I don't have to do this thing alone. Like, I feel like it could be preachy, it could be stuffy, it could be deep. But for me, I didn't realize that was a void. I was in a very toxic relationship with the children's, father prior to not realizing the voice that I left in me, not realizing the norm that it created. It created a sense of independence, but unfortunately, I got used to being alone and not supported. And my mind was blown when I got pregnant a few months ago, because things that Wallace would do, I'm like, oh, you're here? Oh, well, I have a doctor's appointment. Are you coming? Not even asking him, but it would be like, why wouldn't I come? What do you mean? What do you mean? You're my wife. What do you mean? That's my child. You know, he doesn't know any other way but that. Versus me, I'm used to doing everything alone. I went through the labors alone. I went through the doctor visits alone. Everything that was needed, I provided, pregnant or not. So to have this foreign support was a shock to me, and I never really realized that I was reacting with the need of needing him to touch me. It could be something so simple, guys. Like, we could totally be on the couch and I'll say, baby, hold hands. You know, we're holding hands, or he rubs my back, or I lay on his chest. To me, because this is new to me, just the little things mean the world to me, and it represents something so deep that to the natural eye it'll be like, ugh, you're extra, you're this. But it's kind of an affirmation and a reaffirming for me to know that all things work together for my good. God has done a new thing. And, you know, when in God doing new things, you have to unlearn some things that have happened to you. So I feel like that's what's happening. I feel like fear also set in that I had to repent from, because it was just like, you know, that single mother mentality. It was so weird because I knew it wasn't my reality anymore, but I think it was still in me. So it was like, oh my God, I'm about to have another baby. I'm happy, but how are we going to do this? And how are we going to do that? And who's going to watch the baby? Do I need to quit my job? I don't want to quit my job. I love my job. Well, how are we going to do this? And how does this pay for this? And fear. I had to check myself. It was legit fear. And it's like, you know, I took a ride the other day. We had an amazing day of just great weather, and I took a ride on my lunch break, and God just put me in remembrance of how he brought me through, like everything. I remember being pregnant with Isaiah, and like, I don't know nothing about being no mother. What am I supposed to do, and how are we supposed to make it, and can I even afford to be a mother? And time after time, God provided. Against my fears and against my doubt, he was still there. So it's just, you know, it's amazing how we react to fear. And that thing came up on me recently, and I just had to, it was as if God was saying, remember how I brought you through all those other times? And remember how I was with you all those years? Isaiah will be 10 this year. Like, I've been a mother for 10 years. And there was not one time that God didn't provide for us, and he wasn't with us, and he supported us and comforted us. Like, there's no need to be fearful. I think that's my point. So I had to first repent for being fearful, and then just put God in remembrance of his word for me, and just remember his promises to me. You know, fear trumps our faith. And I think I went into this anxiety mode of when I was single, when I didn't have the support, and when I had to do it myself, not even realizing that God has delivered me from that. And it was a fear thing. something that I had to get over. So I just want to speak to you guys about fear. You know, sometimes we react in the weirdest ways, with the foundation actually being fear. You know, you hear people that lash out and they're angry all the time and they're fussing and cussing and this, and when you dig to the bottom of those things, it's based on fear. Fear that I won't make it. Fear that something will be taken from me. Fear that it won't work out in my favor. Just fear. I always say this: the older I get, God exposes Himself on different realms, and it's just like whether the things go your way or not, whether you benefit or you're in a place where you're just standing still, it's all God's will. It's all God's will. So I being pregnant, working wife at 8 and a 9-year-old now, it's like, Jay, you have no room to fear. You have to know what God has promised you. You have to know that you are in your expected end, and you have to know that this thing blows my mind, and it always puts me at ease, but you have to constantly reaffirm yourself in your heart that nothing ever hits your life that God didn't approve. So if God approved this thing this trial or tribulation that you're going through, it means that He'll see you through. And I have to reaffirm myself. Jay, God, it's crazy. You ask God for a child. He gives you the child. And then you worry about the child being whatever, healthy, provided for, all those things. And I just feel that if it wasn't in His will, then it wouldn't have happened. And since it's in His will, this is for me and you, since these things are in His will for our lives, He will provide. He will be there for us, and He will never leave us. It's just an affirmation that we have to constantly keep in the forefront of our minds and our hearts, that there's no need to worry and there's no need to fear because God is there. This morning I was listening to a song that said, I have no reason to fear because God is my life. Because He's my life, He covers me. He provides. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just very it's very overwhelming to me how how He's always there. And how His hand is always on us. And how a lot of the hurt and anguish and worry we bring on ourselves because we don't trust Him. And even in that, He's still faithful. Okay, I'm back. I'm just so overwhelmed of His love for us. And how He provides. And how we worry about these things. And He's just there like, just trust me. I got you. and I'll always make a way. To me, it's mind-blowing every time I think about his love for us. And it makes me feel bad because we fear for nothing. You know, his promises are out on us. We're covered in his blood and we're covered in his promises. And him dying on the cross allowed us to be free. Him dying on the cross allowed us to not have to worry, for him to always be there, for him to always provide for us. And I had to repent because if you don't check the fear, it will overtake you in so many ways that is darkness, and it will overtake you in so many ways that is not like God. And whenever you're feeling fearful, just get in his word and get in his presence, because that's where the affirmation of his promises and his word on us are revealed. That's where the peace comes, in his word and in his presence. And I'm learning that even in the hard times, even in those times that, you know, fear attempts to approach, we have to check it when it comes. Check the fear at the door, the moment. Don't let it fester. Speak against it. Pray and cast your care to God each and every time. Even if you have to do it 100 times a day, you have to check it, because if you allow it to fester, it can overtake you, and it doesn't allow you to operate to your full extent of freedom. It robs you of your freedom. Fear robs you of your faith. And who wants to live a life bound by fear? Well, I'm not going to do this because what if X, Y, and Z happens? Or I want this, but I'm not going to do this because this may happen. Like, that's not freedom. Be free. Cast the fear down. Remember what God has promised to you. Get in his presence and his word so that your peace and your faith can be restored constantly. Sometimes you just have to, you know, I'm a thinker. I will admit that I'm an overthinker. So a lot of times, just for me to ride in the car and listen to music, gospel music, it reaffirms my spirit. Sometimes to shut my brain off, I just have to pray and cast the cares. Or instead of thinking it and processing it inwardly, I will just talk to God about anything. And it's a very informal thing for me when I go to Christ. It's just, you know, Daddy, I need your help, or God, please hide me in this season. Just those type of things release fear. It's so weird because in my talking with him, it releases the stress. It releases the stress and it affirms peace. And it's just kind of the way to continue to be free, and just to get rid of everything that's not like him. Constantly I'm building faith. I hope that constantly you're building your faith. And you know, we build our faith in the increased knowledge of the word and his presence, right? So constantly building faith, constantly staying in his presence, constantly staying in his word will eliminate fear. And like I said, when things come up upon you, because the devil will try you. He will definitely try you with frustration and everything. Just turn to the word. And know those scriptures that say, hold your peace and let the Lord fight your battles. And it's okay to ask God to hide you and defend you with honor. And those have been my prayers lately. Just to stand on those things and know that, You don't have to do this thing alone. God is there to, a lot of things we take on ourselves and then we mess it up and we murky the water because our hand is in it. And I'm learning that to take our hands off of it. When a thing hits your life, cast the care to God and allow Him to care and do for us. That's the one of the benefits of being in relationship with God. He will defend us with honor. He will fight our battles where we don't even have to tussle with anything of this world or anyone of this world. Because we are His children, we can cast it, have faith that He will resolve it, and just stand there and rest in His promises. So, I told you guys I was emotional. I don't know if it's this pregnancy or if it's just thinking on the goodness of God and what He has done for me. It's probably a mixture of both, because a lot of my tears lately have been happy and grateful tears, because He's brought me out of a lot. And sometimes He has brought me out of a lot of things that it wasn't the devil, it was me. I will be the first to admit I was the reason why I was in a lot of mess, but He still brought me out, delivered me, and everything is working for my good. And when you realize what God has done and you look back on the history of Him being a great God, how can you stay silent? How can you not be emotional? How can you not praise Him? And that's where I am. I have a blessed life, and too blessed to, how they say, too blessed to be stressed. Well, you're too blessed to be fearful. So I know that this is a journey. I don't expect for us to just be, and if it happens, that's amazing. But there's still steps that we go through to eliminate this fear. It's a constant reminder that you have to put before you to know that you're God's child. You have no reason to fear because God has your back. So I hope this video was a blessing to you. I will continue my journey, still fighting spiritually, mentally, just to make sure that I am operating in all of the promises of God, and I'm not allowing the enemy to overtake me. And I hope the same for you. I just want to make sure that you are encouraged today. Don't fear, because in fear, you're not free. And we all want to be free, right? So I hope this was a blessing to you. The Wallace family is 3 months pregnant. We are 3 months pregnant this week. So God is with us through our first trimester. And we're so excited. We're so excited. This is Brian's first biological child. So that's exciting all in itself. And we're just thankful and grateful for what God is going to do. We know that He will provide. We have, and we know that this is a blessing. So stay tuned. I have so many things that I'm going to be releasing. I'm going to start incorporating my family more in the videos, because they're a riot. And each day, my kids are like, "Mommy, can we be on your YouTube channel? Can we do it again? Can we do it again?" So I have a lot of things that I'm going to be bringing to you, family based. And I hope that you'll be blessed by it. I know that this will be a moment for us to make memories and bond. So a lot of things on the horizons. If you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe to my blog channel. It is sassyperspectives.wordpress.com. Make sure you're subscribed here at Sassy Perspectives. And a lot of things are coming out. A lot of things God has given me. I am determined to get out before this baby comes. Yes. So I thank you for supporting. I love you for supporting. And I hope that I was an encouragement or a blessing to you today. May God continue to be with you. And may fear be cast down and faith be your main source. Love you. Bye, Sassy.